Welcome to the Masters Grand Prix, and today in the interview room, it's a privilege to say I've got a world record holder indoors, 800 metres, Virginia Mitchell, v55. I love it when someone's got a world record, and to be fair, it's only last year, 2019. So how are you doing today, Virginia?
I'm very well, Darren. I'm very honoured to be included in your interview process. It's really nice to be invited. I'm very excited. Thank you.
Well, that's great to hear. I'm loving it. So, Virginia, you've been in the Masters for a while now. So what got you into the Masters and when did you start?
Well, I'm 57 now. So actually I started about 20 years ago. I was 36. So I just had my first child, Jasmine Mitchell, who is now, she's now 22 and she's running herself. But basically she's a little baby, and it was the reason we started was because Tony and I, my husband Tony Mitchell, who many people will know, just turned 40. And at that, in 1999, the excitement was the World Masters Championships came to Gateshead in the UK. So I think it's the first and only time that we've had a major championships in the UK. And we said, let's go. We've got a baby, but we'll leave her at home with grandma. I was 36, so obviously women's 35s was my age group, and I thought, well, let's go for it. I'm feeling good, and we were training well. Both of us did the 400 hurdles and the 400 meters, and I remember it well because as a first championships, you always remember your first championship. Yeah. And it was just the most unbelievable weather. Gateshead had the weather of Malaga. It was unbelievably warm. It was sunny. It was well organised, and had amazing championships. I actually came second to the marvellous Jenny Matthews in the 400 hurdles, but I set a lifetime personal best there, which was 61.8. So I was really delighted with that time, and especially because Jenny was still running internationally at the time. So she and I clashed again in the 400, but I came out with a gold and ran 56.8, and so I got a silver in the 400 hurdles and a gold in the 400 flat, and then we were a winning team in the 4x4, and Tony had a really epic race in the 400 hurdles and came fourth, which was a dreadful position for him, but he was up against the awesome Howard Mosscrop, and I think it was one of the fastest 400 meter hurdles finals that there's ever been in the men's 40. So, and then he got a gold against the Americans in the 4x4. So we had amazing championships and loved Gateshead, and the Geordies were fantastic and great hosts, so it was a memory to be savoured.
Yeah, and you wouldn't believe it because as we say, Gateshead, it's usually cold up there in the northeast there, so to get that weather was fantastic. You started off at 400 metres and 400 hurdles. You remained doing that event in your Masters, but also why 800 metres as well? I mean, you just broke the world record in 800 metres, and I'm like, why the 800?
I had a look back at some of my, my history of running, and I've always sort of picked a few odd 800s to have a go at. I think the truth is, I've never really trained for 800 meters, and after Turin, I got asked so many questions about my training. So what 800 meter training do you do? And I honestly do very few. I barely go out for any long runs. My longest run would be about, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles maximum. I just don't put in any mileage. My background training has been I think the speed endurance element and the endurance element has come from the 400 meter training and the 400 meter hurdles training. And as you know, if you're a 400 hurdler, that there is definitely an element of endurance that has to come through in your training. And I think my background of running consistent winters of lots and lots of reps of 400 meters, 300 meters, 200 meters, and doing sessions where you have short recoveries, but you are doing, 2 sets of 4 200s, or 2 sets of 3 300s, or 3 sets of 3 300s, or as a teenager, I was doing some sessions. We had a specific session that my coach always brought out. It was always end of January, which is my birthday. So I used to end up running 2200s on my birthday and thinking that's the way to celebrate. I now don't need to do all this longer stuff. I don't need to do longer runs. It's actually, as I think you found from talking to some of our colleagues in the Masters, the marvelous John Tilt and Donald Brown, quality is actually the thing that you need to keep, and that's what keeping some element of quality in your training, actually on the back of the years of the longer stuff, the speed endurance stuff, that actually is what's important now for me. We've got to modify. We all have to modify as we get older and change our training so that it's more reasonable and doesn't damage your body all the time, because injury is debilitating. And I'm coming through pretty bad lower Achilles injury, and I'm now on my bike. So we modify our training, but I don't need to do all these miles. So 800-meter training, it's just there. It's
in the tank. It's years built up, is what you say. You've got it all in the tank, and then obviously you're running off your 400-meter speed. We're going to go back to a little bit. 2015. Yeah. For me, we got the Masters into the World Championships in Beijing 2015. You got called up to go and race a 400 meters. It was fantastic with Masters involved. So I'm just going to show a clip.
Men's over 50s race. All 9 lanes being used here. Virginia Mitchell, Sally Reid-Caton and Elizabeth Wilson in 3, 4 and 5. There's quite a thriving veteran scene around the world, and the World Masters Athletics Federation, WMA, in conjunction with the IAAF and the local organising committee, have come up with an agreement for a women's 400 metres and a men's 800. So on the inside, looking like she's very much enjoying being here, a member of various record-breaking Australian relay quartets. At the tender age of 54, Julie Foster. In 2, the Asian record holder, Yukiko Yusi. She's got a season's best of 63.72. And bearing in mind the multitude of PBs we've seen in the men's decathlon 400 and the individual 400, many of these women will be hoping to get close to 60 seconds or underneath it. Virginia Mitchell, former British junior international, 54-point change when she was 18 years of age. Slightly more senior than that now. A silver at the World Masters earlier this year. She's in good form. So too is Sally Reid-Caton. She's a current British champion, got multiple European indoor Masters titles, 50 years of age. Caton, Great Britain 4, Wilson, New Zealand 5, Henderson, USA 6, Morgenthaler, Australia 7, Garogli of Argentina in 8, and Guo of China in 9. The women's over 50 400 metres. Watch out for Mitchell and Reid-Caton of Great Britain in 3 and 4. They're in good form at the moment and hoping to go as close to 60 as possible. This time they are away. Garogli is already smashing past the Chinese athlete on the outside. Morgenthaler's going well, the Australian. Elizabeth Wilson's closing down the American Henderson. And there is the Australian third from the outside, but she's already made up the stagger. No huge move yet from Reid-Caton and Mitchell. So now they're just beginning to tie up. There are 4 of them together, and the Americans coming back into this actually. Henderson, a good run from her. And watch out there for Reid-Caton coming back through for Great Britain. Quite fast there on the inside. Henderson's beginning to tie up. Reid-Caton coming through. Really good performance here. How close can she get to sub 60 as Mitchell comes through on the inside of the Kiwi? Oh, so close. Reid-Caton from Mitchell. And then I think Wilson may have just hung on from Foster for third. Now the official time, it's partly obscured by one of the photographers, but it looks as though it's 60 seconds, 0.06, rounded down to 0.05. And Mitchell also coming home inside 61 seconds. So Reid-Caton takes it. Mitchell came through really well. She ran a very conservative first half of the race. And Wilson did indeed hang on for third ahead of Foster, the Australian. So the two Britons who were fancied before the race have managed to do the business here in this stadium. A lifelong dream for them to compete in an Olympic stadium. Catherine, what did you make of that? Are you coming out of retirement?
I'm inspired. Absolutely super stuff. Just over 60 seconds. It would take me about 75 to 80 seconds now, and I'm a lot younger, 10 or 15 years so younger, but that was super running. Elizabeth Wilson from New Zealand, well, she committed, but it was Sally Reid-Caton of Great Britain, Northern Ireland, a huge season's best by over 1.5 seconds by the British athlete. And at 50 years old, 60-second 400-meter running. Well,
yeah, I've just watched that brilliant video of Beijing. You finished second. You finished like a train, actually. We're watching it. You finished so strong. And the girl that won it, Sarah Reid-Clayton, I believe.
Sally, yeah.
Sally.
Sally Reid-Caton.
It said Sarah on the thing.
No,
well, there you see it says Sarah.
Name's Darren. It was so extraordinary. You know, most people are given a Christian name and a surname. They put our whole middle name in. So, and they even got Sally's name wrong. And she was called Sarah. So it was most bizarre. But so for some reason I was Virginia Corrine Mitchell. But anyway, it's Sally. And Sally and I have been teammates. We were running together at Woking years ago. So I've known Sally for many years, and she is an awesome athlete, and she had prepared extremely well for this. And I, meanwhile, had come off the back of injury in 2014. So we had this event, this IAAF proposal to run Masters as part of the World Championships. This came up in January 2015, and my friends and my lovely training group said to me, Virginia, it's your age group, women's 50. You've just had, you're in women's 50, and it's 400 meters. Do it. Why? And I said, but I haven't been running. I've had a year off. I've been injured. Anyway, I did it. So basically, there were lots and lots of requirements. You had to be in the top 8 in the world, and the IAAF were looking at all our times as we went through the top 12 athletes in 400 meters in the world got whittled down as some got injured, as others crept up the scale. So I was at the bottom of the ladder. I had to get under 65 seconds at the indoors, and after Lyon I was in the top 8. So I thought, for hooray, never mind Liz beating me in Lyon, she's world masters champion, but I'm going to be there on the track in Beijing. And with 120 meters to go, I thought, I've got bags of energy. Get out there, get on with it. Get down the home straight. So I just finished. I came past about 3 people or 4 people. I came past Renee and I passed Liz Wilson. So I got my own back on her for beating me in Lyon. And coming second, I can tell you, Darren, hats off to Sally, but I was totally delighted after literally a year of being injured, not being on the track, and coming back and doing that. And I just was elated, and we all were. And then we got to meet Seb Coe, and we got a little trophy, a glass trophy, and we were treated like VIPs. And all these Chinese mobbed us for our autographs when we came off the track. So it was great. So there were these 2 races, the women's 5400 and the men's 5800, and all the men included. We all felt we are representing Masters at a World Championships. We want to make it so that the IAAF invite Masters again to the next championships, which was going to be London in 2017. So we felt this massive sense of responsibility to run well, to behave well, to be, to put our best effort on the track.
When you do your training, obviously we've talked about you do your track work. Do you do hill work and stuff like that as well?
Well, I get asked a lot about my training, and it has changed a lot over the years. We have a fabulous training group, and I think when John Shepherd interviewed me after Malaga and asked about what you do in your training, and there was a lovely article that he did for me in AW, and then after that, a lot of people started asking me, what do you do? You're so strong. You've always got a strong finish. Why are you so strong? What do you do? I have modified what I do in my training, and I used to do consistently 3 track sessions a week, hill reps throughout the winter, 2 gym sessions a week. Now I'm erring more towards 2 maximum 3 sessions, but if I do 3 sessions, it'd be a very light session, a good interval session on a Tuesday, possibly a bike ride or something else on a Thursday, because now I'm putting cycling a lot more into my program to avoid the impact and to just keep my body in one piece, really. And that's, I think, where I get the kind of distance training that you asked me about for the 800 meters. And then quality training. Sunday is usually a session which will involve some, especially at this time of year, and actually this time of year is our favourite time of year, because our training group at Guildford, and I include in that those that inspire me and keep me going and help me, do the quality work, along with our along with our coach Fred Allen, who's 96 and still takes our times and still sits in the top of the stand and watches us. But I train with a group of much younger girls. Susie McLaughlin, herself a gold medalist in Malaga and a world champion at 400 meters. Her sister Lizzie Amos and also Helen, they're triplets. I've got a fantastic family who motivate me. My husband, obviously, Tony, he trains with us too. My daughter Jasmine, and we sort of get ourselves through the tough interval sessions. But then there's a lot of other things I do outside that, and gym work's become really important to me now, especially now we've had lockdown. We were lucky enough to have a gym at the end of our garden, actually, and I've been spending a lot of time in there, literally learning new things and trying out new things, all to help strengthen the areas that I know need constant work. And as we get older, Darren, as you know, and John Till alluded to this, and I know Donald Brown said this as well, we never stop learning. I do a lot more band work, I do a lot more glute work, but I'm not lifting heavy weights. I'm not doing the weights I used to do in the gym when I was younger. I'm not bench pressing 55k. I'm not, I can squat, I can happily squat 70k and do reps of that, but I don't need to do that. It's much more about all round keeping a really good core strength, which I know I'm good at. I've got really good core, and that really supports my back. So I rarely have back problems. It's all over body workouts that concentrate on key areas. And at the moment, I've got to work on my tendon strength. So I've been doing quite a lot of plyometric work as well. Lots of little jumps, skips, little work over mini hurdles. Yeah, it's it sounds kind of a mix of everything, but less impact and less of the traditional track sessions, which pulling back a little bit from.
Virginia, it's brilliant, because as you talk through this, it's so understanding. I've said many times that you have to adapt each 5 years as you go through. You've got to adapt your training. And I think that's for people being smart, because you realise your body can't do this. So you adapt things, and that's what keeps you going and keeps you breaking records and keeps you at the top of your game, because you are not afraid of change, and that's what you've got to do. Keep changing things, alternate. You get more injured, you think, why am I getting injured more? Right, I need to adjust my training. It's brilliant that even lockdown, I've watched you on Facebook, you've put the videos out there. It must be fantastic. The whole family's involved, and that must be brilliant. So it keeps you all motivated, because if one's down, the other one picks you up. So it's brilliant to watch there.
I'm gonna, Darren. That's bless you. You've done your research, haven't you? We've been partly because we also want to motivate our young athletes at Young Athletes Club, the club that we run for 400 children at Guildford. It's been really fun putting together sports hall programs and little challenges and an abs workout and garden workouts and we, as you say, my family is absolutely my rock. Tony is my biggest supporter. Jasmine herself running for Loughborough.
We need to look, because I've got to show the 800 meter world record indoor.
Okay.
Virginia Mitchell 2:25:88, 2:25:00 kolejna Brytyjka Elms, a więc tutaj może być bardzo, bardzo ciekawie.
Mamy prezentację zawodniczek. Elms, Mitchell, McDonald.
Już zaraz za momencik start kolejnego z biegów. Tym razem jest to kategoria W60, W55. Zbliżamy się pomału do końca dzisiejszego dnia, długiego dnia, naszej długiej relacji. Przed nami do zakończenia pozostało jeszcze, łącznie z tym, który oglądamy, 5 biegów. Last lap of this race, of this run. Amerykanka ogromne emocje, która z Brytyjek w tym momencie wpadnie na linię mety jako pierwsza? Virginia Mitchell is World Indoor Champion of W55 category. Virginia Mitchell, reprezentantka Wielkiej Brytanii i Irlandii Północnej, zwycięża w tym biegu, powiększając tym samym dorobek Brytyjczyków. Znakomicie.
Right, what another fantastic performance there, Virginia. And not just that, the famous, well, to me, Claire Elms defeated she must hold so many different types of records, so it must be great getting a little scout. But to break the world record, 2 minutes 22.24 seconds, you must have been, wow.
Do you know what, Darren? It was the most extraordinary race. I had no idea how much interest that race would hold for the rest of the stadium. You know, I was totally amazed at how many people came up and said to me, "You beat Claire Elms, and and how did you do it? And how did you plan your race?" And I use a lot of visualization in race preparation, and I know that I had gone through every race scenario in my head before I ran that race. So knowing that the irony was that Claire and I had never raced against each other until that race. Claire set a pace that was perfect. The race plan was roughly 70 seconds for the first 400, 72 for the second 400. That's what happened. She took it out in 35 first lap. I was
she needed to mess it up, Virginia, for yourself, because again, you have that strong fridge. She set everything up for you.
Absolutely. I felt a little bit like it played into my hands, but there was always that dodgy third lap. So for me, the dodgy third lap was like, we did 35 for the first lap, 35 for the second lap. And then I think it was 36, and I thought, oh God, stay with her for the third lap, because it's like, there's 4 laps for when you're doing an 800 indoors. There's loads of laps. Like, she's used to 10K. She'd already won all the longer distance events before she even got to the 8. So I think she got about 5 gold medals from that championships. But then in the last lap, I thought, I've still got it in me. I know I feel good. Let's go for it. And it literally panned out. And the last, I think the 100 meters, I came off that last bend, as you saw, and just thought, yeah, I'm feeling good. This is where I go for it. And I remember crossing the line thinking, well, that wasn't a bad race. And I didn't have any idea that it was a world record, but I knew it was a good time, because I thought if I'd got under 2:24, I'd be really happy. 2:22, and I thought, wow. And Steve Smythe, who's was reporting for AW and is Claire Elms's, he advises her, and I think, I'm not sure if he's exactly coach, but anyway, Steve Smythe from AW came over the barrier and said, "Virginia, you just beat Claire. Tell me what, how did you do that? What did you have in your mind? What was your plan? What was your plan?" I said, well, I just thought I'd stick with Claire. So
is that your favourite moment of Masters? Have you got a favourite time or a favourite medal?
most recent fantastic moments was the 400 meters in Malaga, because that was a really exciting championship. So I won 3 golds. I won the 8, I won the 4, and to do it with my family around me and my track bestie Susie McLaughlin, who had to watch me win my 4, and then she went out and won her 4 as well. I think it's those moments that I think I've got here's my Malaga gold. So there we are. That's my three gold medals from Malaga, which I know. I think there's quite a few.
Yeah, that treasure. I always say treasure all them moments. Cause
yeah, absolutely.
As we know with athletics, we have ups and downs. Fantastic. Yeah, we're going to touch on a little bit of food and your nutrition. Obviously, you say you're gluten free. So do you take recovery stuff? Do you have protein powders and anything, or vitamins and stuff to help you get through daily, or do you just have a very good diet?
I do have a good diet, because it's a good question. I think we all have to think about our diet a lot more, and again change things as we get older. Because I don't eat normal bread and normal pasta, I have gluten-free bread, pasta. So I eat everything that I eat a healthy, lots of vegetables, lots of fruit, and I love my food. So I do, I really enjoy a good meal, and I do eat meat. I haven't gone off into vegan or vegetarian. I'm just I eat pretty much everything, but I do take supplements in that I do have to take iron occasionally because of my iron level can drop without me realizing, and sometimes I can be doing a track session and feel quite dizzy and realize that actually I might need to keep my iron level up. Glucosamine and turmerics, these sort of supplements are kind of, I take every now and then. I don't really have a regular pool of tablets that I literally go through every night, because I'd probably rattle. But one thing I've noticed that is of interest, and maybe of interest to especially women and indeed men who are in the certainly 50 and over 55s age group, is that collagen is quite a good supplement to take, because as we get older, our body doesn't produce the collagen so much, which is part of our natural. It's part of our hair, connective tissue, muscles, tendons, or bone. Collagen is really important.
So do you do like lots of flexibility and mobility stuff as well?
Well, I've started our training group. We always share a lot of advice and ideas, and one of the things that Susie does a lot of stretching, and she got me into stretching. And in lockdown, I've been following Levi Nielsen's sort of yoga and Pilates program, and a bit of Pilates is actually really helpful, I think.
It's good to keep on top of the stretching and mobility. It's probably something I don't do enough of, but I'm trying to do my best to do a little bit more. So we go on to looking at, as you go forward now, so have you got a plan going forward? Obviously, when we come out of lockdown, you've got more goals. And have you got anyone that you look up to in the Masters, in the older age groups or anything?
Sydney McLaughlin and the battle between her and Dalila Mohammed. These are sort of things that inspire me from a international level. But day to day, what gets us out of bed and what makes us, think, well, today I've got a training session, is the people around you. It's the people that inspire you from, who are closest to home. It's my family. It's Tony and Jasmine and Jonty, and my training group, Susie and Lizzie and Louise and Christine. Our jumpy girls, as we call them, because it's all the people that are around you. And then in the wider masters world, obviously, as we head towards the championships, and let's hope to God that next year we've got an indoor, possibly in Braga. We've got the outdoors championships, because our Worlds was obviously postponed in Toronto this year. But we all are looking forward now to the possibility of a World Championships in Finland. These are the things that you think about your championship events, however far away they are. You think about those in every session. You think about every session, this is another step towards these championships. And you think about those people around you in the Masters. I think of Caroline Powell, amazing 400 meter runner, world champion herself. old athletes older than me who've gone through masters and time again come out with an amazing performance at the championships. Those championship performers, John Tilt himself, who may not be a brilliant hurdler, but he's a brilliant racer, and the people who it's Jane Horder, another 400 hurdler in the women's, Claire Elms herself. You're thinking about your competitors, you're thinking about the people around you, and you think about the people close to you who keep you going on a day-to-day level. That these are the people that you think about, and the goals that inspire you is hopefully 2021 when we'll have some championships to look forward to.
Yeah. So would you, obviously, people who are not involved with the any masters and they're into the 35s or in their 40s, is there any advice you'd like to give to them?
Well, yes. First of all, if you can take some inspiration from the fact that athletics gives us, as an older age group, the chance to compete with our peers. You may not be able to compete with people who, people enter athletics and think, I'll just do a park run because that'll get me fit, and then that's the sort of never think that you haven't got an opportunity to compete at a track event. It's really we all know, that's those of us who compete as masters, that there is a fantastic masters community out there who track train, and I think it's people think that track, if you're on the track, you're a specialist, and it's not for them. But actually, if you're fit and well, give track a go, give field a go, give an event a go that you maybe did as a child and have forgot. You might have had a talent as a child. Have another crack at it, because there is a brilliant masters community out there that's supportive, and lots of opportunity to compete against people your own age, where your performances might well have a good standing.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, Virginia. So is there anything you'd like to add before we cut?
I'd like to say thank you to you, Darren, because I think you have done an amazing job as a pioneer for masters athletics. You get out there, you've done these interviews, which I hope are inspiring and motivating to other members of the masters community, but you go out there and you create Grand Prix races, you create an atmosphere, you make competitions happen, you make things happen. We need more people like you, Darren, who can raise the profile for masters athletics. And I'm really, again, like you mentioned about Beijing, I was hoping that would be an event that would raise the profile for masters athletics. We want, I think, and all masters want to have more recognition. A lot of the training and racing that we do, I would love us to have better recognition from society in general, because as you say, we can help inspire people to be more fit, not just physically but mentally. And Donald Brown himself, he does a great job talking about the strength that being good at sport helps with regard to your mental strength and your mental. And all of us know that when you're feeling good and fit and well, that has a ripple effect over your whole life. It makes you feel confident about what you do and how I feel it's really important to be a role model to the athletes that we coach at Guildford and Young Athletes Club, and any athletes that we coach, also at Guildford and Godalming, because Tony and I coach older athletes as well. And we as masters athletes need to put ourselves out there more, raise our profile, and make the society realise that life does not stop at 30 or 35. There's a lot of life left in all of us, and we can all impact.
Right. When we see some of them masters on that track that 80, 90 and 100 years old competing, it makes us still feel young. It does. It's been a privilege interviewing Virginia. I hope you have a tremendous up and coming season.